Item number 1, invocation. Mr. Smith, if you could please lead us in a word of prayer.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time together, Lord. We just pray for guidance as we discuss the issues within our industry, Lord. We just always pray for fairness and being respectful, Lord. And bless us as we leave this meeting today and throughout the holidays. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all follow me to pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman, Mike Warner.
Here.
Mr. Vice Chairman, John Quality.
Present.
Mr. Secretary Treasurer, Ricky Fowler.
Present.
Mr. Carl Bourgeois.
Present.
Present. Mr. Johnny Marquez.
Present.
Mr. Vincent Giglio.
Present.
Present. Mr. Kevin Brown.
Present.
Present. Mr. Doyle Sully.
Present.
Present. Mr. Terry Smith.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, we do have quorum.
Thank you, Donna. Item number 4, adoption of December 12th, 2024 agenda. There are no amendments. I would like to open the floor for a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to adopt today's agenda from Terry Smith. I have a second from Ricky Fabra. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. And the ayes have it. Item 5. Going to move to presentations. Under A, unindentured apprentice continuing professional education by Ms. Crystal Carter. Ms. Carter, if you could please approach the podium and provide your presentation.
Good morning, thank you. I'm Crystal Carter, the Executive Director for PHCC of Louisiana. And we're here today just to make a request. As the history of PHCC, we have always advocated for a qualified workforce for years, worked with getting apprenticeship required, building programs, worked with other stakeholders a couple of years ago, realizing that we may be in a little bit of a workforce dilemma. So worked with stakeholders, with you guys as a board to develop the dual pathway. With that being said, PHCC still advocates for making sure that we have qualified workforce that are able to do their jobs well and protect the public, as is your mission, as it is our mission. So with that being said, we are here to request the consideration of unindentured apprentices being required to take some sort of CPE requirement. Don't know what that looks like at this point. Maybe it's just a portion of what we already have approved for CPE within our provider scope, if it's the administrative, et cetera. We just feel very strongly that it, one, will get them acclimated to the process, that once they become licensed, there is that requirement for continuing education. When you're in the apprenticeship program, you're already kind of getting into that mode, as you're going through the program of that educational element. So not a hard transition once you become licensed. So we are here just to ask for that consideration for unindentured apprentices to have that requirement added. So we're open to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Are there any questions from the board? I have a few. As far as what kind of duration are we talking about for these apprentices? Are we requiring days, or what do we?
No, so it's definitely not to look like an apprenticeship program. There's a reason they're choosing to do the OJT pathway. What we're looking at is, just like you guys are required to take 6 hours if you're a master's tradesman, residential, they're required to take a certain number, the journeyman 3.5 hours, just something along those same lines. So it would just be that small number of hours per year is what we're looking at.
I think one of the major concerns that we need to be leery of is that when we went to this unindentured route, it was supposed to be no school, unindentured. And now the board's gonna, I would take, once we've talked about consideration, we're gonna ask them to go to school. and we've already gone down the pathway of unindentures. So let's take that into consideration whenever we talk about this further.
Yeah, I'll just say, I know, at least from my perspective, other license, your engineering is an example. As an engineering intern, you are licensed, but there are no CPE requirements until you're licensed as an actual professional to do the work, so.
Okay. Are there any other comments from the board?
Just one other, and just to kind of piggyback on what you had mentioned on unindentured apprentices. So there's no classification other than the pathway with the OJT. But as the requirements for a indentured apprentice, there's no requirements. So we don't want to get into a situation to where, you know, the unindentured worker on the job is saying, hey, you know, why do we have to, why is it us required to have continued ed, and in that registered apprenticeship program, it's not a requirement. So we got to watch that too as well.
And then these unindentured apprentices aren't being tracked by the system, correct?
Yeah, I would like to, if I can,
Sure.
speak on that. Yes, they are.
Okay.
All apprentices are required to be registered with the board.
Even,
Unindentured
okay,
and
okay.
So if they are working in the trade as an apprentice, they are licensed as an apprentice with the board. Any other questions from Ms. Carter? Thank you, Ms. Carter. Hearing none, if there's an item for the board would like to take into further discussion, please submit it as a new agenda item at the next meeting. We can't take action on this item today.
You said we can or cannot?
Cannot. It has to be an agenda item at the next meeting.
Are we able to just move it to committee?
We can make a motion to move it to committee.
I make a motion to send it to Continuing Education Committee for the next regularly scheduled committee meeting, just for further discussion and review.
So we have a motion from Trey Giggle to move it to the CPE committee for the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5B, Enforcement Officer Pat Olivier, recognition for years of service. Ms. Diane?
Mike, just step over there.
I would like to recognize Mr. Pat Olivier, who has dedicated 14 years of service to the enforcement officer as an enforcement, for the state common board. Throughout your career, Mr. Pat, you have worked tirelessly and you have upheld the highest standards of safety and compliance in this industry. We really appreciate that. Your commitment to protecting public health and ensuring this industry's integrity has earned you the respect of not only the board members, your colleagues, as well as the community, and again, we thank you for that. As you retire, I know you weren't there, we called you back, thank you for that. We want to honor you for your unwavering dedication and significant contributions to the state of Louisiana. At this time, Mr. Joyner will honor you with that.
All right. Moving on to item number 6, enforcement. Item number 6A, Mr. Bradley Brown citation appeal. Mr. Brown, can you please approach the podium? Ms. Diana, please read the report into record.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Case number 11265-9018, Mr. Bradley Brown. On August the 8th, enforcement officer Stephen Campbell investigated an advertisement for Captain America, a plumbing company not listed with the State Plumbing Board of Louisiana. Mr. Bradley Brown associated with the company was advertising as a licensed plumber. Upon verification with the SPBLA staff, it was confirmed that Mr. Brown holds a journeyman plumber, JP 12669, employed by Grenion Mechanical Incorporated. Mr. Campbell contacted Mr. Brown informing him of that advertisement as licensed plumber. It is prohibited without holding a master plumber license and a proper registration with the SPBLA. Mr. Brown stated he was unaware of those requirements and confirmed that he had not performed any plumbing work under the advertised name, and he would immediately remove all advertisement until properly registered with the board. Mr. Brown was cited for 1 count of advertising plumbing work without a proper license. On September 16th, a citation letter was issued detailing the violation and assessing an enforcement fee of $500 due on October 17th, 2024. September the 23rd, Mr. Brown responded to the citation and submitted a formal request to appeal via email. On November 26th, an email confirming his appearance at the scheduled board meeting was sent. Mr. Brown is here today to state his case.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
Would you go ahead and state your case, please?
Okay, well, it was ignorantly. I did it very ignorantly. It has always been my understanding, even going through training and everything, that as long as you had your first license, you could do repairs. And actually, when the man called me, I thought that I just made a typo saying that I did everything. I'm like, oh, that's my fault. I'll change it to repairs. He goes, no, you can't do it. I talked to him about it. I asked him, why can't I? And he told me because, for the reasons you stated. That's another. And I was completely honest the entire time. I asked him, okay, what can I do? How can I fix this? And he told me to delete everything I've done. And he asked me if I ordered cards, which I told him I had. And he told me he was very worried about that. And I told him, don't worry, I haven't even gotten them through the mail yet. Never used. And like I said, I was honest the entire time. And I took everything down. I did it very ignorantly. And I guess I'm just here to ask for mercy. Because I only did this because, me and my family we were financially burdened like crazy. And I didn't want to take a loan out because then you're going to have to pay even more back. So I was trying to find a way out. I don't want to do side work. I don't know whether it's just a lazy thing or I just don't feel like doing it anymore. I work my butt off at work as it is, so I just don't want to do it anymore. This is just a way of means of getting me out of a hard situation.
All right. Do we have any questions from the board?
So who do you work for currently? Which full-time
Gremion
job?
Mechanical.
What's that?
Gremion Mechanical.
Gremion.
Yes, sir.
Were they aware that you had your own business cards and doing side work and
Most
advertising
probably they were.
online?
They are now. Oh, I have 2 bosses. One of them is aware now. And it wasn't so much as to supersede, it was just something that after work I could do also.
And for the board, he didn't have insurance
Oh,
for an
no.
LJP, right? Wasn't registered during the repair.
That's
Any other comments from the board?
And how are you not aware of the,
It's okay. I'm not the smartest guy in the whole room, one little bit. I don't know. I guess I just never put 2 and 2 together, maybe. But it's just always been my understanding that from 2000. I think I got into plumbing at I want to say 2004, 2005 as an apprentice. I didn't learn too much. I just kept going. But it's always just been my understanding from a bunch of different other licensed plumbers that as soon as you get your license, you get the repairs. That's all you can do is you get your master's. So I think 2000, I want to say 7 years ago probably. I was 7 years ago, I just had in my head that, okay, I can do repairs, but that's all I can do. I can't do anything major. And then as soon as I get to the point where I get my license, then I can just go into business for myself, whether I am or not working for anybody else, and make extra money.
I'm gonna help you out a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So the reason why we require these things is because you have to have insurance. You realize that, huh?
Yes, sir.
If you go operate in someone's house, a home, or facility, and there is a problem, and there's a leak, or something happens, that person needs to be assured that they can be made whole again. You don't possess that, ability to do that.
Every time I've
Understand that.
ever worked on anybody's house, at any way, shape, or form,
Well, I
I've
mean,
always told them, hey, listen,
that's-
this is what it is.
I'm telling you how the board is.
No, I agree.
And we're ensuring the safety of those people that you're doing the work for. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What's the extent of the side work that you've done? Are we talking about 5 jobs or 100 jobs?
Oh,
or-
no. I kind of would wish it'd be 100 jobs. I mean, if I had to put a number on it, say, I mean, it hadn't been a lot.
I make a motion that we, first time offense, we cut the fine in half to $250. But if he is cited again for any type of similar, for anything, then he is required to appear before this board.
So, oh,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize, I don't mean to be difficult, but we need to close the floor to discussion
Oops, I'm
and then
sorry.
open the floor for motion.
all right. Any other comments from the board?
One. I guess I was trying to look, your Captain Plumerica, is that a LLC that's registered with Secretary of State
Yes,
or?
sir.
is it-
And it's an embarrassing name, but it was my wife's idea. I told her I don't really like the idea of that at all. If we could do something else, she's like, well, we can always change it. I'm like, okay. But, well, I'm sorry, what was your question? It's just an embarrassing name.
Is that an actual LLC that you
No,
registered? It's just a?
No, sir. It was
okay.
just a name that we'd come up with, and I had lots of friends telling me about the right ways to go about it and everything. I told them, okay, well, whenever we're going to slowly get to that point, I told them I can't right now. I don't have any money to even get close to enough to that.
Okay.
Again, this was just started to help me and my wife and my family get by, and that was really it.
How long you been in Germany?
Year and a half.
The time frame. When did you start the company and when did you
Oh,
stop or
Yeah.
take everything down?
day or two, maybe three.
So you,
I
for
got a
3
call
days?
I got a call shortly after it was even made that this was happening. I'm like, oh, okay, well, how do I fix it? How do I make you happy? And he told me, okay, well, delete everything that you've done and take pictures. I'm like, I'm not really sure how to screenshot deleting things, but okay. So I did it anyway. I still have them on my phone as is, but I was told to send proof to this, and I
You
did.
have, we do have that in our binders as well.
Yes, ma'am. And as I said, I have the cards that came 2 weeks after everything had been completely deleted. So yeah, I'm such a messy.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Being none, this time the floor is now closed for discussion. We'll entertain a motion. Trey, you had a motion. Would you please restate it for the record?
Yes, sir. I make a motion to reduce the fine to $250 and require the gentleman to appear before the plumbing board if he is cited for anything further on his journeyman license.
Second.
I have a motion from Trey to reduce to $250 and to, if ever cited again, to revisit the board. So I have a second by Terry Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Item 6B, Joseph Westbrook. Stand, please, report and record, please.
Good morning, Ms. Westbrook. Thank you. Case number 11270-9045 and 11270-9046. Mr. Joseph Westbrook. On September 1st, enforcement officer Nicholas Stites investigated a complaint regarding unlicensed plumbing services advertised in Surgeon. Mr. Joseph Westbrook was promoting plumbing services on a site called La Falls Talk. Upon verifying with SPBLA staff, it was confirmed Mr. Westbrook does not hold a plumbing license. The last address on file was 2937 Admiral's Landing Street, Arlene, Louisiana 77634. Officer Dyke's contacted Mr. Westbrook by phone to inquire about his services. When asked for his license number, Mr. Westbrook evaded the question and terminated the call. Further in the investigation, Officer Dice conducted a site inspection of the listed address. No evidence of plumbing operations was observed during the inspections. Mr. Westbrook was cited for 1 count of advertising plumbing services without a license and 1 count of master plumbing work without a license. On October 17th, a citation letter was issued listing the violation and assessing an enforcement fee of $1,000 issued by November the 17th. On October 30th, Mr. Westbrook contacted the SPBLA office enforcement division expressing confusion about the citation. The enforcement division clarified that advertising and presenting oneself as qualified to perform plumbing work without a license is a violation of the state law. November 26th, an email confirming his appearance at the scheduled board meeting was sent. Mr. Westbrook is present today.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Westbrook. And, please state your case for the record.
Well, I mean, I advertisement on a Facebook page stating that looking for some work. If anybody needs some work, to message me.
Specifically plumbing work?
Yes. A couple of people commented on it. I responded to some of the comments. And then on another case, someone had posted that they were looking for someone to do some plumbing work, and I typed in, I'm a plumber. And then nothing ever came from either one of the posts, never received any work from either one of them. And then sometime in October, I received a letter in the mail stating the citations. And I made my appeal request, and here I am today.
So, are you a
Question from the
plumber?
board?
Licensed? No.
So that means
I am
you're
not
not?
a licensed plumber, no sir.
Okay.
Have you ever been employed by a plumbing company, or?
For many years, yes sir.
Have you ever been in an apprenticeship program or
Never did the apprenticeship program. I came in, I think it was 2014 and 2017 to take my journeyman's test. And I did not pass the written test, and I believe I failed the underground part of the exam.
You working for a plumber now?
No, I am employed by Brown and Root, and I work at Marathon Petroleum in Garrettville.
any other questions for the board?
Only other question I have was gonna be for legal. He cited twice, obviously, for advertising without a license and master work without a license. Does that fall within the realm of what he can be cited for, since we don't have a case?
I've reviewed the file, and it is my opinion that we do not have sufficient evidence that Mr. Westbrook performed master plumbing work without a license. I do believe there's adequate evidence that he performed a violation in that he solicited plumbing work without a license and held himself out to be a plumber. So I would say that you're correct. Your immediate, realization that there's a problem with one of these charges is accurate.
Any other questions from the board? Being none, we'll close the floor for discussion. Now I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to remove the count of master plumber work without a license and fully enforce and fine the count of advertising plumbing services without a license.
Second.
Mr. Trekkie makes a motion to remove the count for the master plumber's license, enforce the count for solicitation. I have a second by Terry Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Now, thank you, Mr. Westbrook.
Thank you.
Item 6C, Mr. Frederick Hanneman, I'm sorry.
Case number 1301-9047, 1301-9048, and 11301-9049. Mr. Frederick Hanneman, September 4th, enforcement officer Nicholas Dice identified an advertisement for Blue Dane Plumbing Services that did not display a license number, promoting further investigation. Verification with the SPBLA staff revealed that Blue Dane Plumbing Services was not registered with the board. The investigation uncovered social media profile matching the company's name and contact information. Posts on the profile showed completed plumbing work and advertisements from May 2023 through August 2024. A search on the Louisiana Secretary of State's website indicated that Blue Dane Plumbing Services LLC is owned by Frederick Hanneman, with the business registering on April 12, 2023, listing an address of 3226 Ridgeline Drive, Slidell, Louisiana, 70460. Further review revealed that Mr. Hanneman holds a 2024 journeyman plumbing license, JP 6441, and attests to the board on his 2024 renewal form as not working in the trade. Mr. Hanneman and Blue Dane Plumbing Services, LLC, are both associated with the same phone number and address. Mr. Hanneman was cited for one count of advertising plumbing services without a license, one count of master plumber work without a license, and one count of operating an unlicensed plumbing company.
this point, the chair will entertain, floor discussion from the board. Do we have any?
How long have you been running this?
Since the date she mentioned when I opened Blue Day Cleaning Services in April of 2023.
April?
Yes, sir.
2023?
As a repair and drain cleaning service.
Why did you lie on your renewal form,
As far as what?
stating that you were not working in the trade?
I wasn't at that time. I had ceased my operations.
So what's the timeline here? You opened the company in '23.
Yeah.
In May of '24, you completed a renewal form saying you were not working in the
Well,
trade.
I wasn't working for a company anymore. That's what it was supposed to say. Not working in the trade.
It says not currently working in the trade, and you check that box.
I meant to check the box for not putting an entity as far as working for someone.
Were you working for Blue Day?
At the time, yeah. I failed to register in 2023 with the state. That would have given me like a 5-year kind of deal there. I missed that opportunity. In 2024, I tried to register, but then I was told I couldn't because I didn't hold a master license. So,
You tried to register with this board,
yes, sir.
and when you were told that you couldn't do so because you had to have a master's, you continued to do business,
I continue to do limited business,
such as
just trying to.
just drain company.
Yes, sir.
No repairs of leaks and no installation of water heaters.
Yes,
Yes.
In your advertisement here, free estimates, licensed and insured, so you were insured?
I've had insurance, I've had workman's comp insurance since that date was in.
Did the board have your insurance?
No, I forgot to register, that's what I was doing. I didn't realize I had to register that.
So what are you doing now?
I'm trying to find a job with someone right now, currently put out some applications, that's pretty much it.
So, but you have a German license now?
Yes, currently,
How long have you been a German?
since '09. Work with Pontchartrain Mechanical, Levitt Mechanical, and Keep Lots Plumbing. Doing big high rises, big schools, and infrastructure for adults.
All right, any other discussion from the board? Being none, close the floor for discussion. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, and legal can correct me if we can't do this, but I'd like to make a motion to deny the appeal and to suspend his journeyman license until he can prove that he is employed by a master plumber or produce insurance and register as a licensed journeyman repair company, since he cannot be responsible with his license.
Yeah, I don't, so in order to suspend the license, there has to be a customer-initiated complaint.
Okay.
So I think everything else you want to do is acceptable, but you are not going to be able to suspend this license unless there's a customer-initiated complaint and follow that special procedure for suspensions of licenses. So you may want to reconsider your motion and reconsider.
Make a motion to deny the appeal.
Second.
Terry Higley makes a motion to deny the appeal. We have a second by Terry Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. So just saying, that's all you do. You're denied.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this time, move on to item number 7, committee reports. Please allow the record to reflect that unless the report is amended, there are no action items necessary, and all actions noted under old business. Item A, building committee, Mr. Giggles, please read your report to the record.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we have the building committee in your meeting binder, so we did meet, discuss several items. There was a building that we reviewed unofficially, but that building was sold on 9475 Linwood Avenue in Shreveport. So that is off the table. We do have some financial recommendations later under old business on the agenda that we're going to ask the board to consider that will allow us to move a little bit more quickly on the purchase of a facility in Shreveport. The committee did review with the staff site expectations, and those are listed in the committee minutes. And we are going to ask later in the meeting for an authority to engage in a letter of intent for a facility purchase in Shreveport. And the other thing that was discussed in committee is board meeting locations for 25. There was discussion in the last board meeting of moving things around the state to different locations to give the board exposure and access to license holders throughout the state. And that will be an action item later in the agenda as well. The committee discussed Lake Charles, Shreveport, of course, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria for locations in 25. I think that'll be an action item for the board to vote on later. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your report, Mr. Keyville. Now we move on to item B, Rule Change Committee, Mr. Carl Boudreaux.
Okay, we had a meeting on October 22nd held by Zoom. The two items we discussed were the natural gas bidder definition and also the recording of board meeting minutes. The committee decided to take no action on either item.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. There's no amendments. We'll move on to item C, Van Committee. I'll read the report in the record. The Van Committee visited the Texas Farm Board in October, collaborated with them as well as our committee. And we built an exam that we believe will be beneficial to the journey exam. This is an agenda item for later. I'll discuss further at that time. Because I do want to report to the board that while the board moved, that we look at other items, the exam has been our priority at this time. So once we complete the exam and we do some data processing, we'll get on those other recommended items. And that concludes my report. Item number 8, previous minutes for A, August 22nd, 2024, and B, September 17th, 2024. Y'all will take a second to please review those minutes if you haven't already. Is there any discussion from the board about the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Terry Smith to approve the minutes of the meeting. I have a second, Trey Bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, for that for both minutes, I just want to clarify, make sure.
Yes.
Is that the both minutes?
Yes.
Motion both minutes.
Item 9, financial report.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the first item up right now is the CPA's contract. This item is a request for an approval of an extension of the contract with our current CPA, set to remain in effect through 2027. This extension ensures the continuation of essential financial services, including accounting, tax preparation.
Mr. Fabry, I think that's actually new business.
Well, it's under this line item, so. Secretary Treasurer, but that's on the new business?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just seen 2 line items, I apologize, jumping ship, okay. Well, let me get on the financial report. All right, so cash account summary, third quarter, August, September, October 2024. Whitney Bank checking account as of November 30th, $790,922.31. Whitney Bank savings account as of November 30th, 2024, $977,298.43. Petty cash, $155. We have a CD that's due, that was due June 24 of 2024, 5.6% at $250,000. A CD due 9/27/2024, 3.8% at $100,000. CD due 9/26/2025, at 4.1% at 69,000. Interest earned year to date, $14,628.95. The total assets is $2,202,004.69. So that includes that report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ricky. This is not an action item. Unless there are any amendments, we'll be moving forward. Are there any? All right, moving forward. Item 9B.
Yes, sir. So the State Plumbing Board of Louisiana, the proposed budget for approval is the 2025 through 2026 budget. That was actually sent out for the board members' review in advance. As it stands right now, looking at the total projected year over and under, and as you can see, it's itemized. And then when you go to the actual from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, down the column, it'll show that we had budgeted on the actual $1,292,590. And then the current year, which was July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, the budget was $1,345,200. The budget, which is going to be the one that we're trying to approve, is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 at $1,286,800, showing a net of $58,400. And then, if you want to get into the exhibits, through the budget, you had a chance to review that. If there's any questions, we can answer that. If not, I would like to see, Mr. Chairman, if we can entertain a motion to approve the budget for our upcoming fiscal year.
All right, Chair will now open the floor for discussion from the board. Any discussion from the board about the budget? Hearing none, the floor is now closed for discussion. Is there any public comment about the budget? Any public comment about the budget? Hearing none, the floor is now closed for public comment. Now, the floor will, the chairman will entertain a motion for acceptance.
Make a motion we accept.
Second.
I have a motion from Jerry Smith to accept the budget as presented. I have a second from Johnny Marquez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The budget has been approved.
I'm sorry, who seconded that motion? Thank you.
Johnny Marquez. Item number 10, advisory committee. Please approach the podium and present the report. Mr. Oliver.
Morning. We only have one thing on our agenda today. It was requesting IDs. They said some older members had, advisory committee had IDs to help with enforcement as well, and they were asking the board to do that again.
Okay.
That's really all we had to talk about.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Y'all have any questions for Mr. Oliver? Hearing none, if there are any items the board would like to further discuss, you'll have to submit an agenda item for the next meeting. So make sure y'all add that to the next meeting, and that's made an agenda item.
I'm trying to think back when we had IDs for the advisory.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this actually has been brought up before, so it would be an agenda item for the next meeting. The board had discussed whether or not they wanted to continue the authority to allow the advisory committee, which they did at one time. They helped with enforcement. They had IDs that said special enforcement officers on them. You guys have had discussion about whether or not you want to continue that practice, but there's been no action on that.
I
So
make a motion to put on the agenda.
So,
If you want to add something to the agenda, you have to add it 30 days in advance, shut the office now.
On 90 days in advance, right?
Yeah, but you don't need to do a motion for that.
Okay.
Tammy. Just tell them.
I have a question on that. I'm trying to remember, when it was discussed last time, I know legal looked at the law and it said that board members are automatically special enforcement officers, but the board has the authority to allow the advisory board to be special, or if we say we
I
have
think
the
that's one of
authority?
the reasons we stopped doing it, is
Okay.
because it's very questionable, and so if I end up in front of a judge trying to enforce an enjoined conduct, and I'm using an advisory board member's, citation, there is question, and if they had counsel on the other side of a case, which many times they don't, but if they do, I expect that one of the things they would raise is that the citing individual is not authorized by statute or regulation. The other thing that has been concerning, and this isn't so simple as saying let them do it or not let them do it, you have to think about it, you know, there needs to be training. It can't just be that we send them out there, because we want to be very careful about, you know, how we train our enforcement officers. That's something that committee has been working on, and I would think we would want to ensure the world is a different place than it used to be in terms of how we enforce and what types of things we have to be conscious about. So I think it's going to bear some serious discussion and perhaps looking into it again if we're going to consider that may or may not have anything to do with them having IDs, but to identify them. But in terms of them actually issuing citations, that's going to require some discussion, I think, by the committee who's handling enforcement.
So can we just send it to enforcement, to that item to
I
enforcement
think you
committee?
can, and I don't think, by the way, I don't think sending something to a committee requires motions.
Okay.
You can just ask that it be sent to the committee, and like, the chairman can take notice of that and have that done at the put it on their next agenda.
Sir, I request that that item of advisory board serving as special enforcement officers be sent to enforcement.
Trey advises to have the IDs, request for IDs sent to the enforcement officer for the next meeting. Thank you. We've got item 10. Item 11, enforcement officers report.
Stephen Campbell, Region A.
For the period, had 774 miles, 120 hours, 121 inspections, and 2 citations.
Enforcement Officer William Easterly, Region A.
The previous had 1,356 miles, 120 hours, 166 inspections, 4 citations.
Enforcement Officer Nicholas Dykes, Region B.
I had 1,870 miles, 120 hours work, 85 inspections, and 23 citations.
Enforcement Officer Ben Vernion, Region B. Total miles 2,447. Hours worked 117. Inspections is 103. Citations are 10. Enforcement Officer Frederick Fontenot, Region E.
2,685 miles, 119 hours, 77 inspections, 8 citations.
Enforcement Officer James York, Region F.
For the reporting period, 2,602 miles, 120 hours, 124 inspections, and 2 citations.
Enforcement Officer Blaine Locke, Region I.
At 2,053 miles, 103 hours, 71 inspections, 0 citations.
All right, thank you for your reports. There are no amendments to reports. We will move on. Are there any? Item number 12, Executive Director report, Ms. Tillier, can you read the report in the record, please?
I'd like to report to the board that we've made some pretty significant changes to our online licensing renewal portal, and I'm very happy to announce that it's cut down our processing time. Generally, we tell our licensees that it takes up to 2 weeks to process, and I can confidently say if you're renewing a license online and you supply all of your documents, that license is being released within 3 days. So it seems to be working very well. With that being said, we are moving forward with online applications. I know that we've spoke about that as a board, as basically a second build to the portal. staff and I are currently working on basically a mock version of what that would look like, what that's gonna entail. It's a little bit more detailed because of all the different requirements for examination. But once we have that mock done, it'll go into a sandbox and we'll essentially be able to test that sandbox. And once we do that, we can officially or efficiently submit a quote to the board for that secondary build out. So I also want to report that the 2025 examination schedule is out. It is going to look a little bit different this year. Last year, we only had a couple dual exams. This year, all of our journeyman and all of our natural gas exams are dual exams. We also sat, Diana and I, and argued for a couple of days, and we revamped the schedule that keeps the examination schedule within the same budget. With the dual exams, we're able to provide more exams more often. So our wait time is cut down from 3 months waiting on an exam to we are rotating exams every 2 months now. So I think the licensees asked for that, and we were able to do that within our budget. It's the regional board meetings. I just want to say, Mr. Giglio, I know this is one of your items, but I just want to state for the record in my report so that the public's aware of it and kind of you guys have an update. We would ask the committee to look into regional board meetings, and Mr. Giglio is going to address that later. However, I do want to make sure that everyone in here, enforcement officers, board members, are aware that our first board meeting for 2025 will be in February, pending approval, of course, and that's going to be in Lake Charles. We've also scheduled a December meeting for next year in Alexandria, and we are working on Shreveport as we speak. So just be aware of those as those agendas go out. There's a location, right? Just exactly where we list our address. It'll have either the city hall or wherever we're holding it along with the address. I do want to remind everyone that Train the Trainer is quickly approaching the end of January. I believe that the room block ends on January 12th. So if there are any CPE provider instructors that need to get those rooms, I would suggest doing so before that date. And lastly, I'd just like to read into the record that legislative session is in April 14th. I currently sit on a committee of executive directors in the state of Louisiana. We are to schedule a meeting. We schedule a meeting prior to every session. That meeting, generally, we sit and discuss what we see, what relationships each agency has with each legislature. This is something new. This is the second year that we've done this, and really this is kind of a way for us to work together since we have so many new legislators and so many new directors in state agencies. So I'll keep you guys abreast of any legislative updates before that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Next question. So you said the online stuff. So are all renewals online now? No, I didn't quite catch what. What's
Yes, sir.
online?
All renewals are online.
Available online.
It is subject to current license holders, right? So
Right.
if you have an outstanding citation or you have not renewed your license has lapsed, it will not allow you to renew online. If you have not taken continuing education, it will not allow you to renew online. Essentially what happens is they go into their portal, they update their information. At that time, they can attach any required documents that are necessary. They make automatic payments. We are physically on our end reviewing those documents, and essentially either accepting, right, or denying those renewals.
And this is the first year, right? That everybody can renew online?
It's actually the second year.
Second
but
year.
Last year.
This is better.
Last year, you had to wait on an email to make payment.
Okay.
And so we changed that. You're gonna automatically pay for it. If for some, we will not release your license until we've cleared everything. So for some reason, you haven't taken CPE. Yes, you've paid for the license, but we're not gonna process it until you take CPE. If for some reason you don't have what you need, we are going to deny the renewal process and we're gonna issue them their funds back.
Is it easier to do renewals for folks who submitted online rather than paper for you guys in the office?
100, it's quicker, it's more efficient. Yeah. So with paper, they're having to scan in every document for retention, whereas our system now is set up that it automatically retains those documents. So it's, like I said, 3 days at most,
Yeah.
you know, we're done.
Do we have a sense of percentage-wise, at least, how many people are renewing online versus in the mail?
So I can tell you, we're in December, so we're not even mid-December. We've seen a lot more than last year, I will tell you that, but we're still probably, I would say, anywhere from 45 to 50% licenses renewed at this point. The next few weeks are gonna really provide, that's when everyone wants to renew their license at the last minute, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, I think it's to everyone's advantage to get more people to do it that way.
I would like to bring a point forward that in one of our CPE classes, the discussion was started about the new portal system.
Mhm.
And it was positive across the board.
And it was, positive?
It was positive.
Yeah.
They were actually raving about how much easier it was and how quick it was, and that this is the way they'll continue to do it from here on out.
Yeah, I think this is a big deal. It's been a financial commitment from the board, and I
Yeah.
think that we definitely need to be talking it up and
Definitely.
yeah.
A comment, I notice we get an influx, being a CE provider, we get an influx of guys once they get that October letter. Is there any way we could push that letter or some form of a letter when we start, like in March?
So we could. Mr. Marquet, I have a few, I think, visions, right, on this renewal. And I think ultimately we're getting to a point where we want to go completely digital, right?
Mhm.
Because even with online applications, if you want to do an online application, you're going to have to communicate with us via email.
Mhm.
If you want to do paper correspondence, you're gonna do by paper. Because we have to keep those two things separately. We certainly can. It is expensive to send those things.
Well, you can do it
out
via.
electronically.
Yes, absolutely. I was just,
We can
because we have.
certainly do that. We
Yeah.
just can't send the renewal form any earlier than what we do because of the statute.
Right.
Other than that, yes.
Well, just some sort of notice that, hey, it's available, don't wait till the last minute, basically, I mean, we have.
Probably another reason for folks to go online so they can actually get those notifications. If they're,
I would suspect after online applications, once you guys approve that another, just something to put on your brain while they have a discussion is the possibility of CPE providers logging in onto our portal to submit their hours, because you guys have 10 days to supply that to us, and that does, it's an issue at the end of the year. You know, these guys have taken CPE, but we're not gonna accept a certificate. Those certificates have been falsified, they've been, all of it, so we're looking for a roster. So I hope over the next couple of years, we're a one-stop shop. You're able to apply, you're able to submit your CPE, you're able to renew, and I think that would put us more in line with all of the other agencies that I'm seeing.
So we'll tell you where to go ahead in the direction that we're going.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments for Executive Director? Hearing none, moving to be moving on to item 13, old business A, financial recommendation for future building purchase. Mr. Giglio, we move on to this action item for.
Yes, sir. So coming out of committee, we have a couple of recommendations, and the first recommendation was regarding the purchase of the Shreveport building. This board had already approved in principle, not the actual purchase, but in terms of the need and searching for it. So looking at the finances of that building purchase, this Baton Rouge facility was purchased at a very low interest rate. Interest rates were way down. Anything that we purchase in '25, the interest rate will be approximately double the rate for this building. So in terms of financing it, the building committee is making a recommendation that we continue as is, paying the mortgage note on the Baton Rouge facility and pay cash out of the savings for the Shreveport building, as that would be the most financially prudent thing to do for the board. That's a recommendation. I don't think I need a motion because it's a recommendation out of committee.
We're
I'm
yes.
sorry.
That was a recommendation out of committee, so does it need a motion or is it?
It is an action item.
It is an action item,
So we're
and
gonna
that's,
ask for.
Okay.
All right, this time we'll open the floor for, board's, questions about this action item.
So it looks like the action item is just
The action item is
financing
to
versus
continue to
cash.
pay-
That's
Yes.
not amounts or buildings or
You're
just.
correct.
The
just
action
that.
item is to pay cash for the building insurance.
There you go.
Yes,
When it's
and
approved.
continue with the mortgage and Baton Rouge.
Yep.
I'm not savvy of commercial real estate. Could it be the same as a residential thing where equity in this building could be at a lower interest rate to do a purchase?
so I'm not sure, I will tell you that the interest rate on this commercial building, if I'm not, it was in the 4%.
Yep.
So I don't even know that we could pull equity out of this building for less than the interest rate. that-
Just a-
It would be more,
Because if you pull equity out, it's always at a higher rate.
Okay.
Than the initial mortgage purchase. So you would be looking at a significantly higher rate. It's just, you don't touch old rates right now.
Yes, Mr. Ricky.
I would just like to make a motion to accept the recommendation by the building
We gotta
committee.
do public comment.
We gotta open it up to the
We
public.
gotta-
I'm jumping the gun.
Rick, you got somewhere to go?
Jumping at the bids.
We can give you some written
He saw those.
Sorry, Chairman, Robert Rules of Order.
Yeah, we're trying to. All right, this time, is there any other comment from the board? That's being none, we'll close the floor for comment from the board and open comment from the public. Do we have any public comment? Any public comment? Being none, the floor is closed for public comment. Now we'll entertain the motion, Mr. Ricky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry I'm not following parliamentary law. But, yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept the building committee's recommendation based on the interest rates. And I think it's a wise decision financially to continue to pay this mortgage and then pay for any building that we purchase in Shreveport out of cash.
So we have a motion from Mr. Ricky to,
Second. I don't know if you need it.
mortgage and Baton Rouge to pay cash for a building in Shreveport. Do I have a second?
Yes.
I have a second, Mr. Terry Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Item B, recommendation for notice of intent for future facility purchase. This will also be Mr. Trey, go, you bring your action on forward, please.
Yes, sir, thank you. So the second thing coming out of the building committee was a recommendation to the board to approve a $600,000 price cap with the committee's ability to enter into a purchase agreement. This came about, we had the facility that I mentioned in my report that I think we had unanimous consensus on was a great facility and met our needs, that due to the way things work and protocols, that we ended up losing that facility because we were not even able to issue a letter of intent to purchase to hold until the board could vote 10 days on that. So the recommendation was to ask this board for permission to enter into a letter of intent purchase agreement for up to $600,000. Still would require a vote of the board for the actual purchase, but to at least allow us to do that, to try not to lose another option that comes available.
This time during this, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would even state, and I think, taking the notice of intent completely out of the equation and just, requesting the ability for your committee to sign the purchase order. I just want to state that on the record.
Okay. Yes.
And
thank
that
you for
is what the action item says. Just, and I think, guys, I'm just gonna say, just in the business world, in the contract world, you're never gonna get a decent building if you have to wait to your next meeting, or even to meet the sunshine law requirements and posting meeting notices to have a meeting. You're gonna lose any decent property in that time. I think if you don't consider this seriously, you're gonna struggle to get a piece of property, except one that's sitting on the market for some reason. So, and I think that's what we learned, is we lost a piece of property.
Yes.
You know, like to amend your
Yes, sir.
motion.
The amend the recommendation, I apologize, I did not read it accurately. It is, the recommendation is to ask the board for a $600,000 limit to allow the building committee to enter into a purchase agreement for a Shreveport facility up to $600,000.
All right. You heard, Mr. Giglio's recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a
So moved.
motion.
I have a motion from Secretary Smith
Second.
to
You
approve.
did not, wait.
Public comment.
Well, that don't need
Board comment,
Leave
public
him off his
comment.
game.
All right.
He was doing so good.
Board comment, public comment.
All right, at this time, is there any comment from the board?
I
Yes,
will ask
go
a
ahead.
question. We are in the right number at 600,000, obviously, Trey?
Yes, in our market, that should get us what that should be good. Yes, sir.
Trey, what was the price on the building that we looked at?
$495?
Yes, I think we're there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was $495. There's one, there's a potential that's coming up that's right around that 600 mark that the real estate agent says will get a good bit lower than that if it meets our requirements. We haven't looked at it yet, but it's coming up. So, yeah, I think we're good there. It will, that would not include any interior modifications, but that's a whole
Right.
separate deal. This is
Right.
just for the purchase of the building.
It will be contingent upon the approval of the board.
Yes. Will be contingent with approval, yes.
What do you mean contingent on the approval of the board?
It will not?
No,
No,
that's the
you're
difference.
entering, you would be entering into
We're
a
giving them-
purchase agreement.
We're giving them authority to make.
You're giving the
committee.
committee,
Oh, no.
look, this is a purchase agreement, it's a contract.
Right.
But you
So-
can't make it contingent upon the board approval.
The contract is probably, it's a typical purchase agreement that you would see in any real estate transaction. So it's contingent upon inspections passing. You can probably, there's probably language that lets you pull out but lose some percentage, like some earnest commitment. Because they're gonna stop marketing the building and take it off the market pursuant to that purchase
Like
agreement.
appraisal, contingent upon appraisals.
Yes, it's gonna be conditional, but not,
Right.
it won't come back to the board to approve it again. You're essentially approving, you're giving the committee
Committee,
the
yeah.
authority to enter into the agreement to buy. So you need to understand that this is gonna be a binding contract between us, the board, and whoever we enter into that purchase agreement with. Pursuant to whatever the terms of that agreement is, and I'm sure the building committee will look at it, and they'll probably ask legal to look at it, to make sure that it protects you guys
Can add you to the
adequately.
building committee.
Yes, Ms. Reed?
I'm in order?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So this is a question to legal, and I don't know too much about buying and selling real estate, but a lot of times, if you own a home and you want to purchase another home, you could do a predication. And would that predication be language stating that you could go into a predication like a memorandum of understanding with the intent that within 10 days, the board would have to finalize the agreement, the purchasing agreement?
Yeah, the
And I think
dilemma
that would
that,
satisfy the board.
I think that the dilemma you have is that given a choice between an offer of that type and someone willing to enter into a purchase agreement, they're gonna enter into the purchase agreement, you're gonna lose the building. I mean, good pieces of real estate don't stay on the market for 10 days, is what I think we're telling you.
Yes, Ms. Ashley.
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
That may ease the board's mind. The committee is to review said building. I would assume that we would make sure that we have the capability. I believe last time they allowed me to Zoom in so that I didn't have to physically be there. So maybe that's something that we can provide, that you guys can also look at the building. But I do want to remind you that the building committee is made up of most of you. Half of you that sit on the board are also sit on the building committee. So just to kind of ease your mind, it's not just one board member or two board members entering into a purchase agreement.
Yes.
I just got one more comment. Sure, the last building y'all were looking at in Shreveport, it didn't have parking places, so I just don't want to jump the gun getting something that, you know, we might have trouble getting CO and stuff like that, don't have parking places, and it's not, you know, set up for what we're doing.
Agreed. Yeah, and to Ashley's point, I don't think we would not enter any offer in until everybody had the opportunity to Zoom in. The real estate agent has some special software form of Zoom to where everybody can participate if they're out of town and look at it, just, Ricky, you did on the last one. So we do that same process again to make sure everybody was comfortable. And it would require a committee, the committee consensus to go forward.
Any other discussion from the board? Being none, now we'll open the floor for discussion from the public. Do we have any public discussion? There being none, Chair will now entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Have a motion from Terry Smith to approve.
The recommendation of the
Can you
board?
elaborate?
I mean, of
The
the
rec-
committee?
Of the building committee.
Okay.
I have a motion to approve the recommendation from the building committee. Terry Smith, we have a second, I'm sorry. By John Marquette.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to item C, adjournment employment of practical exam approval. As I said previously in my committee report, we built a practical exam from some ideas we took away from our visit to Texas. I believe all the board members taking a look at it, at least everybody's seen it. So at this point, I'd like to move forward with approval of that exam and with beta testing and to make sure that this is a complete journeyman exam that's going to take the place of the ABS and PDC for the journeyman exam. Also, I would ask for approval to continue using the current PBC and ABS rough end that we're using for the duration until the new exam is ready to roll out. And that includes my recommendation.
So I have a question on the PVC ABS. Are we moving that immediately to the residential, or is that already
Yes.
taken place?
That has
or-
already taken place at the last meeting.
I did, okay.
Yes.
So we'll do it on
We're
both
doing it on
until
both.
your
Yes.
thing comes out.
Any other questions from the board?
I just want to say you did a great job on that.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Thank
That was a lot of work.
you. Any other comments from the board? This time we'll entertain.
I just got one, I guess, just to make sure we're all on the same page, because I know we're talking about doing some beta testing and approving the exam, I guess. Is there any criteria? I mean, do we need to like get the positive results back, or what's the process there?
All right, so what I'm asking for today is approval to move forward. And to go ahead and beta test it. Once I have that, I'm gonna start building and development for the rollout. That's what I'm asking for today. And once we have them ready to go, we will actually start using them and testing.
But until then,
until then.
We'll use the current layout.
We're gonna use the current layout until these are ready to move.
So we'll be using the current layout for residential and journeyman.
Yes.
So would the, I guess, the beta testing sort of results or what have you, just go through the
Yes.
test committee to kind of review and
Yes.
get feedback, and then if that's good, then rock and roll?
Yep.
So this is the last time the board is gonna review that, okay?
Unless there's committee.
Unless we have.
Yeah, unless it's committee, I think, yeah.
Do we review the beta testing of it?
The committee.
Okay.
Committee, right.
So my other question, I guess, will be, so that's taking the place of the rough end, of course. What's the plan on the solder and threading? Are you keeping that or deleting that, or what's
Leaving that all together, because that will be in the process of.
the residential? So the only practical part of the journeyman will now be that.
It's going to take, the time criteria is.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is what I'm concerned about. So
Yeah.
It's gonna take all of it.
Yeah.
So the people that, the journeymen that don't take the, you know, that don't take the residential license first, so we're not gonna make them thread anything then?
That was, no.
Or solder.
Right, also. Yeah, y'all, the exam that we went and looked at, they give those guys half a day, basically, but they cut the pipe and everything else, so we're kind of in a time crunch.
Right. Yeah, it's a full day exam for them.
Yeah, if they can get this right, they probably know how to solder.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And the threading part's not really as big a deal because
Right.
that was prior to having gas separated, so anybody really doing a lot of threading is gonna get that on the gas side of the license.
When we gonna get our Pro Press and Mega Press?
All right, any other discussion from the board on item C? Seeing none, we're gonna close it. Open up discussion from the public. Any discussion from the public? Any discussion from the public? There being none, Chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
We got a motion from Terry Smith to accept the advisement from CP committee. And I have a second. from-
Wait, because it's not in the action item. What is the actual motion?
The motion-
Accept.
What is your actual-
I accept his discussion.
Okay. It's gotta be a little clearer than that for the.
I accept that we move forward with the beta testing,
And
and approval of the,
The exam.
practical
The
exam.
new
And
practical.
continue to use the other exam.
The current exam until ready.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Terry, second by Johnny Marquez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
And this is all Trey's fault.
I know.
It's all you, Trey. It's all your fault.
I'll take it.
You wanted detailed minutes, so we gotta.
I was gonna comment how great the minutes in this binder were.
Aren't
They
they?
were
Aren't they?
fantastic.
I knew you'd be very happy.
Oh, it was
Diana
exciting.
did an amazing job.
She did. They
Do
were
we,
great.
do we have to get public comment on
Oh, I don't know, that's all the other.
All right.
Is that a Dick Young
Mike,
shirt?
question along the same line. Are we gonna keep the galvanized and the copper in the residential? Because really truthfully, I kinda think we could take the galvanized out if you don't want to entertain that on the residential.
That's something we could always do, and that is-
Those are fighting words from a man whose pants were all ripped up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, talking about casual.
My wife dressed.
She's stylish. Does she do your shoes?
No.
I didn't think so. That's
Moving forward, to item D, exam reports. If there are no amendments or issues to the reports, we'll move on to item 14. Are there any issues or reports from exams? Being none, we will move forward to item 14, new business, CPA contract with Mr. Clyburn. Mr. Carver, will you bring this?
Okay, I guess I'm in order now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, appreciate it. So, I kind of read everything, but the contract, the CPA is requesting approval for an extension of his firm's contract. Right now, it would be go into effect through 2027. This extension ensures the continuation of essential financial services, including accounting, tax preparation, audits, and strategic financial planning. And if you look in the binder, his new proposed contract is in binder, and I think there's only a slight difference on his hourly rate.
What was the previous?
25.
Tariffs. Damn tariffs.
Yeah. And I will say, in behalf of his firm, he does really an outstanding job for us. You know, he keeps us out of trouble, and it seems like every time we have our annual audit, we always get a clean audit.
All right, any other discussion from the board?
So the maximum payout, 75.5, is that what it reads?
Throughout the year.
Throughout the year?
Yeah, if you calculate the annual contract.
Any other discussion from the board? See, we're still looking. All right, any other discussion from the board? Seeing none, I would like to open the floor for public discussion. Is there any public discussion on this action item? Hearing none, Chair will now entertain the motion for this action item.
Make a motion to accept.
Accept. Second?
Terry Smith made a motion to accept the contract from the Public Accounting Services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dynamite Page. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right, moving on to item B, 2025 CP provider applications. This time the board should have had time to review CP providers. If there are no new providers to the report, we do require that providers submit applications each year. At this time, we'll open the floor for discussion about those providers.
I have a question.
Yes.
About, is the board ensuring that these providers are meeting the requirement of those, having one in every major city, the live
Yes.
class?
Yes,
Okay.
so they are required to submit, they're not required to submit their schedule until February, the end of February, I believe. So, you only have one provider that you guys, I forget exactly the motion, but the newest provider, Miss Margarita.
LPI?
Yes, you guys told her that she would have to show proof of at least offering the class. So that's what we're looking for. She's gonna be sending us essentially her class schedule and proof that she's making flyers or sending out emails. But yes, we do ensure that they're in every region.
And there's one on the list that's doing Zoom. Are we allowing in-person Zoom, or there's no regulation either way on it?
The board, so essentially, I'm quite curious about that because what the board allows is you have to have at least, one in-house. All of your in-houses have to have an actual book. You guys allow correspondence.
Right.
And you did approve, which I'm not aware of any provider using, to my knowledge, is an online, which means, I believe you guys said it had to be safe, secure, an actual login where they paid for it, and it could only be the book itself with the ability to answer those questions. There has been no, you guys discussed this in detail about, doing those live classes, and they were not.
Okay. Then we may need to talk offline, because we do have a provider on this list that's doing that.
I guess the question is Zoom considered online?
Right,
Because it might, and many people do not consider it to be online in the same way that I could walk away from my screen.
Yeah.
Because you can require that they be camera on,
We
Vir-
clearly state that
virtual.
in their packet, and their
so that
CPE packet.
they have to be able to see that the person is actually attending. So I can't just turn on and walk away and go to another room.
Right,
Plus, they also have the issue of look.
yeah, so we may need to check up, what I'm saying.
So we
may need to
might,
check
y'all
up
may
on
wanna
that.
follow up
Yeah,
on
we may
that,
follow
but
up on that.
they would have to, they should be complying with that, not just having it be where somebody can click on and walk away.
Okay, that was my.
Any other discussion from the board? Being none, floor is now open for discussion. Yes, ma'am.
I apologize. I just want to state for the record to make sure that you guys are aware, when a CPE provider violates one of the requirements of the program, the contract, we are required to bring them before the board. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that if that is being done, that will need to be brought before the board. It's not something we can handle internally.
Good.
Okay. That's good. Well, I guess after the meeting, I'll give you that info and y'all can look into it and determine if there's evidence they can be brought forward. Okay.
All right, all right, no more other comments from the board. At this time, we'll entertain some public comment. Any public comment? There being none, Chair will now entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve.
I have a motion from Terry Smith to approve the 2025 CDBG provider applications. Do I have a second?
Second.
By
Guess
Johnny
I'll-
Marquez.
guess I'll do it
All those in
again.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
You
nay.
and Terry killing.
Smash.
What now?
That's when they read it, he's gonna think you were the only board member, and so, or the only one who
Want to move along.
I'm not criticizing, I'm just making.
All right, moving on to item number 15, board meeting dates for 2025. This time,
What is it?
For discussion.
Oh, the
We do
annual.
have, or it brought to my attention that February 20th date, is there any way that it could be amended to the 27th?
I can certainly request that. Right now, that date is solidified with Lake Charles in their city hall, which is kind of why I was stating earlier that we're kind of at their mercy of when they offer those, but I can certainly see if we can reschedule that. I do want you guys to know, if you do change it to the 27th, we may or may not, we may have to hold that board meeting here in Baton Rouge.
I will
think-
so you just, and I will be here the 27th, but y'all don't have to have me, so.
Oh, come on.
Guys, you know.
How are we gonna function without
I'll be
you?
in Los
I don't know
Angeles.
if you participated in building trades. You do.
We used to, I don't know. I mean, training.
It's Louisiana State Building Trades.
Okay, let's
Okay.
move it to.
All right, so, any other discussion about the dates?
So if, so we move it to 27th and Lake Charles can accommodate us, we're just gonna do it here, is that the?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
This time, I'll close the floor for discussion from the board, open discussion for public comment. Is there any discussion for public comment? There being none, I'll now entertain a motion for the dates, for 2025.
Well, other than the February, I'll make a motion to accept.
Terry Smith makes a motion to accept.
Go ahead, Jake.
February 20th to be moved to
Second.
February.
Man, I'm not gonna let somebody do a thing.
Go ahead, man.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Which brings us to item number 16, procurement. Any further discussion from the board?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait, I do have one thing I want to mention. We had a lot of enforcement issues on advertising and social media. Is it possible for the board to, I'm just asking from a marketing standpoint, saying, hey, the board is taking action against unlicensed people, advertising plumbing work. There was action taken on individual, I don't know, I'm just thinking of something to give the board, the plumbing board, some credit for going after and pursuing.
Acknowledgement.
Our enforcement officers have done good work.
Since that item is not on the agenda, may I make a recommendation that it would be a good issue to go before the enforcement committee and to come before the board once on the agenda at the next meeting?
Okay.
That would be my recommendation, because we generally don't address things that are not on the agenda in accordance with Robert's rules and the state.
So we'll move that. Yes, sir.
I just wrote one yesterday for advertising on Facebook. I was getting complaints from the plumbers.
Yes.
And I checked into it and got a hold to the fella, and he was actually advertising, and he was doing master work.
Yes.
And I wrote him for both citations.
Well done.
So we will send that to the enforcement committee for recognition of the work being done on advertising
And then,
enforcement.
and then I would suggest that the enforcement committee make any recommendations of what might be appropriate to address this, what seems to be this swell of a problem.
Understood.
We'll move that to enforcement and have it ready for the next board. Sherry Smith.
Ashley, can y'all, I guess, send us the addresses of wherever we're going as far as like the meeting and stuff?
All right, any other discussion from the board? All right. Chair, I'm taking a motion for.
You were trying to rush it.
Public comment. Is there any final public comment?
Don't smash nothing.
Chair, I'm taking a motion for. adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn from Terry Smith, second by
Jake.
Jake Cosby.
Good job,
All in favor, say aye.
I got one,
Aye.
man.
Opposed, nay.
That's a win.
That's a win.
Less
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
I'm gonna get on to that.